Welcome back, Jay Schneider. Good to have you here.
It is great to be here.
For those of you who haven't been watching for a while, Jay used to be on with us basically every Friday that he was available. COVID has changed priorities for a lot of us, Jay included, and I let him off the hook and said, focus on keeping all your boats afloat, friend. So we've sent Jay off to do that, but he always said if we wanted to give him a call and have him come back for at least a one-off appearance, that he would be available for that. And after all the big news this week in terms of the Omnath banning, but obviously Omnath didn't get banned, the Omnath deck banning in terms of Uro getting banned, and the prickly feelings people are having about the presence of black bordered limited edition cards with unique mechanics being sold direct to players via this secret layer drop. Lot to unpack there that I'm curious to hear from Jay on. But Jay, I'm going to turn it over to you and just let you say hello, tell people what you've been up to, and talk about the decks and standard, whatever you want to talk about while I get your decks loaded. Welcome, Jay.
That sounds great. Thanks, Ryan. So, first of all, if you all remember, I do basically two things. I run a game company and I teach game design as a professor at the University of Washington. Ryan actually was kind enough to come in and guest with me last year because I needed someone to give some lectures on streaming since, because of COVID, it became incredibly important. Anyway, so we're getting ready for the new year. I am happy to say that the UW's program, we oversold the wait list, which was kind of amazing. Our certificate program, we normally take 25 students a year. We had 35.
Wow.
Just crazy awesome. Which is, good in a lot of ways. I'm hoping that we already teach it at a graduate level, and I'm hoping they'll let us turn it into a master's. Certainly the demand is there.
Yeah.
So otherwise, been doing various and sundry games with Fire Opal. 13th Age, our role-playing game, is going well. And there's a new game that launched that I was one of the designers on. I guess technically I was the lead designer, but a lot of the work. So, a sort of secret thing, the developers often do a ton more work than the designers. And in the case of this game that I launched, that was certainly the case. But I launched a game called Monsters versus Fractions. And the first chapter is free. It's probably not of interest to you unless you're a third grader working on fractions. However, for third graders working on fractions, it may become the new, hopefully, Reader Rabbit of this world.
Nice.
So that's sort of where my world has been. It looks like you're getting ready to load in some decks, and
Yeah, I'm working on it.
so, of course, Omnath is the dominant factor even without Uro. And the format is kind of weird because there's a handful of cards that are just so much more powerful than anything else. They're sort of dominant. And Omnath being your sort of most characteristic of one. And a lot of the issues with Omnath isn't the card itself as much as the fact that multicolor mana is so easy.
Yeah.
It is. There are formats when Omnath would have been unplayable. This isn't one of them. There's, just nothing else to say about it. And right now, it is more than, if they took draw a card off of Omnath, it still might be too good. Which,
yeah, it's a dumb engine when it gets going, and it replaces itself on entry, and it could just be the dumb engine when it gets going, and that'd be okay. But people seem so sensitive to that mythic needs to do something, give me value immediately, or it's unplayable, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it got into that bad of a shape. They had to know that. I mean, five color decks were common beforehand. I played a Niv Mizzet deck. I mean, back when I was, 6 months ago, we were playing five color Niv Mizzet with no problem. He dropped out every game on turn five at the latest. So why you wouldn't think that Omnath wouldn't drop out on 3 to 4 every game is hard to imagine.
Well, and you just think we know there's a lot of smart people in that room and hammering away on this game. What there are times where it surprises me when Wizards doesn't see something ahead of time, and this kind of qualifies. Obviously, Omnath is super splashy and super powerful, and obviously Lotus Cobra is just born to make it happen. They had to have tested Lotus Cobra Omnath stuff, and maybe there's answers in the format we don't get yet. I don't know. It's also just hard. They have a much smaller sample size and a small crew trying to reveal everything about the format before it's available. I'm curious what you think of this. Like, it's been brought up that that really we're in a format that Wizards hasn't tested. There's so many bans that it's not even a format that Wizards ever planned for, which is one pushback. Like, that maybe the reason X is so good is because they actually never tested it in this exact context.
If
But
only there was Oko,
right,
the
but that's
format would be better.
right. That's the pushback is like, but wait, a lot of the stuff that got banned was in the colors that you really want to give this deck Oko and Once Upon a Time, and you think that's going to make it worse. But actually, would it? I mean, would Oko go in this deck? Like, I don't know. I don't know if it actually helps or hurts. The Oko stuff, yes, but other stuff has been banned too, and it's possible that some of the other decks that were banned were considered the control mechanism on Omnath Cobra. So even though it could have conceivably been better without all the bans, it's also impossible to deny that the bans have taken away other strategies that maybe R&D tested and found good against this or something. It's just one theory to float out there.
I want to answer David's question in the chat channel. David's asking about making threats stronger. So that has been a long-term goal. And thinking about Magic in terms of threats and responses is a really good way to think about it. The problem is you need to make the responses narrow but not bad. And that's really the key to making things work. And threats, you want to make them good, but there's just some level that's crazy. And often when you put draw a card, people often say that cheap mana is the dominant mechanic. I disagree with that. Card draw is the dominant mechanic in every card game.
Yeah.
And if you put draw a card on anything, it's hard to not make it really good. And as for the the question is about, is it possible they were focused on Commander? So I guess I still have what feels like an old school belief on Commander, that Commander is casual and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't know the numbers on what percent of the world think Commander should be fun as opposed to competitive. But certainly, if that's a major opinion, then you don't need to make them good. You need to make them cool and neat and do interesting things.
Right.
And so I mean, if Omnath had been broken without the draw card, I wouldn't at least be offended by it. It's the draw card that really just offends me.
Right. You had to put that on it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you clearly okay, missing something that's complex like that, okay, I can get it. I can see how you could miss that there's really interesting interactions you can do and you start not breaking your sack lands and
Right. Or like maybe
you
they
could
didn't test it with like that ultimatum specifically or something.
right.
Like the
Maybe
ultimatum really busts it open.
honestly, I think maybe they had Mons had a bad week or something. And
Yeah, and on that the front, I want to reiterate, a lot of people get angry at their game makers at times like this and think people should potentially lose their jobs over stuff or something. I would beware the pitchforks and torches on that front, because you need to people are going to make mistakes. They're human. I would rather have the I don't know everybody in R&D now, but I know a lot of them, and I don't want any of those people losing their jobs because of like I want them in there learning the lessons and solving the problems in the future. I think that's the better attitude. But yeah, it's been what do you think of this last couple years and the general problems? Do you think that's related to as usual, it's always going to be a variety of impacts, right? But I
so
think,
I have a strong belief on this one, which is off the norm.
yeah, what's that?
I believe that Wizards needs to dump a bunch of money into a project which they're not doing and revamp the way development is being done by making it computer generated. At this point in time, we can do AIs that can play Magic better than humans. We need to Wizards. Is there still going to need to have humans play testing for fun? But in order to truly get balance down, there needs to be a lot more, and I want to say primarily machine balanced sets.
Interesting. You
Not
think
every game can do that, but Wizards can dump $10 million to do this.
I want to push back and go back to your comment that you feel we have the AI for this right now. Like, there's not like you feel that the AI could be created. There's not some plug and play AI solution for Magic. I know that they I was working on Arena, and certainly they have bot play. Like by the time I left, they were testing stuff by having bots make random plays and stuff. But what do you think? Like
So
if
I
Wizards said,
believe
Jay, you're
we're
right, we're gonna
using
hire you, and I want you to lead this charge. Like, how much do you think it's gonna like? What type of team and what type of time do you think you would need to create to end up with a product for R&D that allowed them to digitally test the way you're
1
talking
year,
about?
5 people, and you'll never be using for true strength humans again.
Hmm.
You'll have to have a team that can convert it into there. But the stuff you were using previously, honestly, is a lot of the work that I did early on with duels and related to it.
Hmm.
So Patrick and I wrote the first duels AIs. And the AIs that needed to be used now are neural network systems.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't touch that at all when we created duels. I mean, the technology wasn't there. The current neural networks are basically neural networks have changed since I worked on duels so much that everything I did feels like stone knives and bear skins.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and um, you know and it's not like I'm saying this is a trivial amount of money. I'm saying we need, Wizards needs to get a group of people from, top-notch AI researchers, dump $250,000 into each of them, but they can afford to do that, and this will give them a basically developer bot to handle play balance to make sure these things don't happen. I mean, the problem is that because of Arena, because of the internet, because of more communication, the world mind updates so much more quickly than it used to. I mean,
Yep.
it used to be you would build a deck and it would take weeks or even months for the world to respond. The format used to take months to be solved, which was perfect because by the time a format got solved, the new cards were in. Now the format is solved in 6 days. Yeah, and I
It's
mean
solved
that.
before the launch of the set, you
Oh
know?
yeah. Oh,
Um, and this is, I want to call out that when I was at Wizards, one of the tasks that I undertook was when MTG Goldfish got off the ground, the website we use heavily, got off the ground while I was working at Wizards, and they were scraping data from MTGO, Magic Online, not Arena, to generate not only robust, meaningful results data, but to create uh, grids of the meta. So instead of saying, like, imagine this, like I could describe a world in which, hey, there's like 5 good decks in standard, right? There's 5 good decks in standard. We all agree. Then there's some ones below that, but these are your main 5 that are all pretty good. And like at least you feel like you have 5 to choose from. They scraped so much data from Magic Online, Goldfish did, that they could create a grid that showed exactly how those matched up against each other. And you'd see, oh, deck A beats deck C this percent of the time. And then suddenly you look at that grid, and one of those 5 decks is winning 54% of the time, one 53, one 52, and a couple of them 52. Now you're looking at that info and going, well, there's one deck. It's the 54, right? I don't really actually, now that I've seen this valuable legit data, I should just do this thing. And so it's one thing to have the community aware that Omnath is crushing pretty heavily, and a lot of these third-party tools showing win percentages and stuff. But with Magic Online at the time, it was so pronounced that we finally had to plug that leak. It was like, okay, we haven't hidden this information because it hasn't mattered. Now it's mattering. And basically, I reached out to MTG Goldfish and said, "Look, we're going to be plugging this hole, but I'm asking you, not to do it in the meantime." And it was weird to basically say, "Hey, can you stop? You're breaking standard too quickly." And this was like basically Eric Lauer reached out to me and said, we need to slow down the information flow. And so we actually made changes to slow down the information to make it less breakable from the community standpoint. But now it feels like whatever bulwarks we created against Magic Online at that time have now been blown wide open again with Arena, both anecdotally, and there is a lot of scraping going on with Arena data too. So yeah, the fast rate at which the best decks can be figured out is a real problem for R&D, and we're seeing it. Do you think, like, if you just imagine if you went back in time and just pulled forward some of the old broken standard formats that took a while to break and just gave them to this world, right? They, how fast would we find Cobblade? That kind of thing.
There's a lot of them. I mean, that would be found in days, maybe day. It's just hard to imagine.
Yeah. I don't think, and to be clear, Jay is talking about it augmenting human. I mean, you've said like you think that that AI could get to the point where, from a brokenness standpoint, you could really have valuable info. But to be clear, you always need human designers taking a product to its conclusion, because an AI is not going to be able to tell you what's fun. It might be able to tell you what's powerful, but you need designers to figure out what isn't fun.
Has got to provide the boundaries. You need humans to do the initial creative design. Then you need to have humans to make sure the designs maintain their fun.
Right.
And that's something that is way, way harder to deal with. There may be a Robo Rosewater one day, but I think we've got at least another 15 or 20 years before that.
Yeah. Although that'll be interesting too. And even Robo Rosewater in its current form throws out bizarro stuff that could inspire you to make a real card, which is, kind of funny too. Well, shall we put it into action, Jay? We can also, I do want to talk about the Walking Dead stuff, but maybe let's play some Magic and then we'll take a break and talk about that later.
Absolutely. We didn't get into was I did put together 3 decks. They all survive in the format and do fairly well.
Hmm.
My definition of doing well is I can play them right now, win standard tournaments comfortably with them, and I've been playing them in platinum level.
Nice. Well, where do you want to
So,
start?
always start with the slide deck.
All right.
I mean, that's sort of like home for me.
Exactly. I figured we would start there, and I'm just going to apply styles and
So
craft
I
all.
wanted to talk about an element of this deck for a moment. There is a really interesting design trick that I use that I only get to once in a very rare amount of times.
Hmm.
The decks are listed somewhere. Could you show the Wayward? Sorry, I've got your head there
Oh,
covering the
yeah.
deck.
Sorry. Let me get I'm getting ready to share the decks. I put them on our Stream Decker. So I think we do Stream Deck. Yeah. I just need to set this one as our active. Hold on.
So while
Okay.
you're doing that, the
Now it should work.
Wayward Guide piece, you'll note there is one of them in the deck. Now, ones are really kind of interesting when you have a card in a deck. Usually it's a tutor target or something like that. Occasionally, and it is a card where 2 of them is bad, potentially really bad, and one of them is good. In this case, there are certain cards that are the last card you ever play in a deck.
Hmm.
This is the last spell you play. You
Right.
really don't want 2 last spells, and this is a great last spell, but it's not worth having a dead card in the hand.
Yeah,
So
and
you
you
want to,
really don't want 2 of them. If you
but
see
you
this in your
one is
opener alone,
awesome.
you're already unhappy if you see this in your opener, right? Unless it's a beautiful curve out to it.
It's still the last card you play, so you can
Hmm.
get by with it.
But
So
2 would be
anyway,
awful.
but 2 would be awful. So you get to play one of these, and that's just kind of neat and fun. Um, Otherwise, the deck is there's some nice combinations in there. The Fireblade Charger really likes to be pumped, with a growth effect before they die.
Hmm.
Um,
Kill some cobras here.
well, but it's not just that. Remember he does
Oh yeah,
damage
no,
equal.
I went down to I saw the hazard and was thinking about cobras. But yes, this is like a what's the Goblin Arsonist? Goblin Arsonist, but upside mostly. Goblin Arsonist is this, except it dies to deal exactly 1 point of damage. This is dying to deal damage equal to power. How and Embercleave does that? What else does that?
The dwarf, the Rimrock.
Yeah, right. Rimrock.
Because a lot of times you'll swing, they'll block with something, you'll pump with the Rimrock, you'll kill something oversized, and then bolt them.
Right. The only place, the way that this is not strictly better than the Arsonist is that if you face a minus X effect, it does no damage. If this is killed in an effect that reduces its power and toughness, the power is counted in its reducted state for that damage. But mostly this is just an upgrade, which is why it's uncommon.
The format was hard, in all honesty, for slide decks because there's not a lot of good burn out there. The burn's a little bit expensive. But Fire Prophecy is, of course, really good, and it helps that there's a lot of creatures. There's decent anti-creature burn, so you get by with that.
Well,
Anyway,
Razor, you're unhappy with mono red. You get to pick the land if you pipe up soon. Here, let's see. Let's add some land to this. Add Cooler Mountains, and then give it a test drive.
so no, David, Royal Eruption isn't good enough. It's you need to have a bolt that you really want something like at least 3 points of instant flexibility for 2. Otherwise, it's challenging. The question about 2 times Torban, you can play 3. You've got room for about 5 items at the top, and I seem to prefer 2 Torben and 3 Embercleaves rather than the reverse.
Yeah, both have legendary restrictions affecting them there. Anyway, let's. I love it. I always, for those of you who are primarily limited but dabble in constructed and are also potentially on a budget on your arena, slide decks are your friends. They, even when they're quote bad, even when Sly is not the place to be, you're just going to win 45% of your games because you curve out and they don't, so like even when Sly's not great, it's still a fine choice for grinding gold quickly, because even if you're not winning it over 50% of the time, like you could win 60% of the time with a 20-minute deck or 40% of the time with a 3-minute deck. And you can see that if your goal is just to get your gold ground so that you can go draft, not only are they extremely cheap to make in terms of wild cards in general, and even when they're not, like I want to call out, we got a mythic here. Are there other mythics in here? Frequently they're not overloaded with mythics. They generally don't have a bunch of rare lands, and often even the rares are replaceable. Like this is a good example. Bone Crusher Giant is excellent. Excellent. You want to run 4 of these in every one of your red decks. But honestly, if you are short on wild cards and you can't make 4 Bone Crusher Giants, all of this stuff is replaceable. The beauty of the Sly deck is that you find something on curve, you slot it in, and it can still get it done if it's anything reasonable. So I just want to call out the value of this type of deck for the low budget limited grinder on Arena. Now let's go prove it.
There were a slew of questions. The 3 costs on Relic Robber is just so hard. It's 2 is I can put almost anything in there, but 3 is like pulling teeth. There was a question about splashing. I believe there may be an even better deck that's in red-white, because some of the red-white stuff is truly over the top right now. Anyway, that looks like a nice, fine start. Again, it's it's got a little bit of removal, but that's all you get these days.
Yes. All right, now I've got so many things here, but look, let's see if it's still you, Jay. Are you ready? Who was the last guest I had? It might be with Marshall Sutcliffe, actually. I might have to change this. No, there it is. Look at that with Chase.
All right.
Sorry, Oppo, I'm on it. Here we go. I'm saying the whole point of this deck is you can play it fast. I'll try and prove that. It's not the whole point, but a benefit of it if you are looking to get back to your drafting but need to grind some gold.
And you have the Thunderous Review, which is good, but we have to be careful of when we use it. Good.
Are you rebuking this, or you just want to rob ourselves? Or bone crushing?
In this case, you're going to bone crusher it. You theoretically should hold it, but you can play it or not.
Yeah, I'm just going to do that to speed things along. Again, trying to... I'm very so deliberate when I play limited, because I'm trying hard not to punt and really find every line to the win. I play constructed with Jay a little looser, both because there's nothing serious on the line for me, and because again, this is also how I approach even playing standard, as I'm trying to get my gold quickly. The perfect play doesn't matter to me too much.
Don't swing with the Fevrant champion. You really want to draw burn onto that. I would just put out Anax and let them do whatever. Burn is a little bit precious, so
yeah, you think that if we leave this back to block, they're gonna use on it, and if we don't, they won't?
They're gonna burn it, and that's a bit of a win for us.
But you think they won't burn it if we attack? Well, I don't understand why we're not attacking.
Right, because then we're trading 1 damage for 3 damage, unless we trade with our Anax.
Well, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we don't want to block. Okay, I'll see. Got it.
I mean, it's okay to block with Anax, but getting to draw the burn would be really good right here. I mean, they're just okay.
Oppo, we're in the bronze. I don't play much constructed even on this main account, especially at the beginning of a format like this. So we've dropped all the way down, and it's possible that me taking some time to chat with Jay also caused some I'm not going to wait for this person. There's just a lot of early scoops in these, especially at the levels where people don't really care about their rank, right? Nobody cares about their rank here in bronze, other than trying to maybe get out of it. So you get a lot of early scoops.
Rating, and there's nothing wrong with playing 1 or 2 Claim the Firstborns. It's all format based, but it is a fine choice. There are even some ways, because of the land that lets you sacrifice a creature, the land that acts as a fling. You could easily build that into a specific build. So if you're going to put claims in, make sure to change up the lands a little bit. I really like having the Death Spark land. Death Spark is the really early 1 damage card, and you really want those for Lotus Cobra in the format. Yeah, just that's it.
This is a more controlling hand, but I kept it. I mean, I don't think we want to play a Rimrock on 2 when we have Fire Prophecy and Bone Crusher. What's Oppo playing? What does that usually mean? There's some Sultai decks, but it probably means Lotus Cobra, frankly, so I like holding.
It probably does. I would actually just play a land and hold.
Yeah.
I would expect them to Oppo to drop something at this point, and we can use our choice of burn.
And they get to take some from our hand, but we have so much redundancy, this isn't that big a deal. They get our Bone Crusher. I guess maybe I could have fired off Bone Crusher to their face.
Firing off Bone Crusher to the face is probably optimal. That's the one you don't really want them to have, and you're going to drop it next turn anyway.
Oppo agrees. Well, now, especially since they know about it, I'm going to go ahead and play the Rimrock. They may get Lotus Cobra, fetch land, make 3 mana kind of deal, but we'll see. I guess any fetches won't produce 3 because it'll enter tapped currently.
Right. Now, Fire Prophecies are really interesting. I am very aggressive with dumping lands to Fire Prophecy. I love Fire Prophecy.
Yeah, this seems very good for that.
I would dump both of these. Even though you're going to need 4 land, I would risk it. Trust the deck to draw a land, and just plan to dump 2 of the Fire Prophecies.
Well, right now we need... The problem, of course, with Fire Prophecy is that it's target creature, so we can't just go to the face with it for that plan. No Ember Cleaving here, so I'm just going to send in before anything.
Send in, see what Oppo does.
Heartless Act, we'll get it done. You're not playing this, though, for the Fire Prophecies, are you? I mean, we need at least 4 anyway.
Yeah, go ahead and play it out. You might as well. You're going to draw a land, and then you'll be able to use it for the Fire Prophecy, or you'll be drawing gas, which is even better.
Definitely Cobra's lurking in this deck somewhere. They just don't have any. Or they should, if they don't.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what they're playing. It's some sort of weird control.
Sultai control.
I mean, it may just be Omnath, whatever.
At least they don't know about our Ember Cleave. That could surprise them. I mean, not surprise them in the sense that the deck has it, but in that we have it in hand. Maybe they're going to hardcast a Shark Typhoon.
They should have.
All right, let's try this.
Dropping out a 2/2 was the only reason you're Fire Prophesying the 2/2 is just to get an extra draw. Dump the Spark, the Death Spark land.
This one, yeah. There we go. Find another mountain we can champ and cleave. Although that... I was saying... I was saying creatures aren't worth it anymore unless they do something on enter, but this one has been showing up because it does say, like, you specifically need actual removal, or it does, you know, you're in serious trouble.
It is good here, but you've had such a slow start that...
Well, we can... Let's see. We go champ, champ. We can get a cleave for 4, but we do that next. We'll just go champ, champ, pass. And then next turn we have...
probably
cleave for 4 with Fire Prophecy, which is actually enough to win combat, right? So that's the plan.
They're going to have to make a pretty horrible mistake or two for us to win.
Yes. This is bad news bears, but we'll give it one chance to champ into cleave into prophecy to take it out. Trouble is they probably just go make a 3/3 and then block with those. So
they should.
So that's where I don't know what our actual out is here since they have the 3/3 on blocks. And really, if we attack at this point, they just take. Like if I were them, I'd just like, here you go. Yeah, okay, we'll take 4. Fine, Emmer cleave it up. We'll take, we'll take 8.
Maybe they'll do something horrible, and if not, well, we should.
We could. I think actually what I need to do is Fire Prophecy this and hope we find another way to combine Ember Cleave with a new card to take out this. Because as long as they have the Beast to block a champ, we're not going to get the Gargaroth dead. And we have basically one chance to get rid of the Gargaroth through tricksy Hobbitsy stuff, or we're going to lose this game. So I'm just going to try that.
So fire. It's hard to get me off of Fire Prophecy for getting rid of lands. Wow, that should still be you win, but it's not because that thing is so big.
Yeah, it just doesn't really matter. I'm gonna put this all on one.
Put it all on one, and let's see if Oppo will make a horrible mistake.
Can I not do? Oh, it has to do. One of them has to go elsewhere. Right.
Yeah.
They've also got a ton of mana up, so I'm not expecting this to
no, this
work.
This is going to go badly for us, and
it's all we got. It's the spells we have.
Well,
I mean, it technically kills it.
Yeah.
But they got so much open mana, I'm not expecting this to work either.
No reason to expect it to work.
There we go. All right, we'll give this one to Oppo. That's the thing. If you're going to play mono red, you can understand when you're beat and move on quickly. Part of the benefit of the deck, really. Let's give it one more shot on the sly and then switch decks. Then maybe we'll talk Walking Dead and then try the third deck.
That sounds great.
Looks good. And we got the play. We're going to go Charger first into Champ with Hazard up or Bone Crusher.
I put the Charger out first.
Yeah, generally you want to save your Hasties to follow up your non-Hasties. So with nothing to get, this looks like another place where we really might want to save this Hazard for a Cobra. But there is an argument for playing the Hazard so that we get to Torbran on time and we can still play the Champ.
I would play the Castle and a Champion and see if you can sucker out a Cobra. You've got plenty of 2-drops.
Okay. Tried to pass quickly there to not show we have a 1 mana red instant, but sharp players are going to be paying attention to that. Not necessarily other bronze hanger-outers, but you never know. At least try to do it quickly to disguise. Clover could be trouble, but gives us a window to crack in. What we really want is a nice 2-drop, like the attacking rogue would be nice. This is okay though.
Oh, that is very okay.
Definitely doing this. Then there's a question about play land or not. But let's start with the straightforward attack.
I would go ahead and play the land at this point in time.
Yeah, because we could draw a
cancel
land and drop
Torbrand.
Torbrand, and it could just end the game, right?
Right.
Oops.
Torbrand can also do fun things with Charger.
Wow, that's a lot of clovers and super scary, but not if you're already dead. Not the right kind of land to get Torbrand out, but we'll still play it tapped for next turn, and we can have Bone Crusher up for their turn.
And while they will probably go fetch a whole bunch of lands, that's okay.
Yeah, the question is what they do with the turn 4 Clover shenanigans. If they come up with a Bone Crusher of their own and go boom, 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 we have a fight. But we'll make them have it. Oops, here we are again. I need to finish combat. Yeah, Giant for 3 is an option. Yeah, I like that, actually. We have the other Bone Crusher. Let's just cast a 4-3. Then if they do have the Bone Crusher of their own, they get these 3, but not
well,
pretty
it also means
oppressive.
they would take the 2 if they hit it.
Right.
Yeah, beanstalking here doesn't feel like a path to victory, but
it may be all they have. Well, especially when they don't show red, because now I'm wondering what you're casting here. Yes, there you go.
is definitely not the path to victory.
I know there are no artifact quests, so I guess Oppo just wanted to play some cards.
Yeah. Well, do you want to give it one more try before switching to the other deck?
Sure.
I was sort of hoping you'd get the War Dog out.
We can try one more time for that. Yeah, good call, Rob. Extinction Event would have cleared our board, right? Everything was odd.
You don't see a lot of that from the story deck, though.
Right. I think that's a good point. That it would be an incorrect inclusion to be running Extinction Event as your removal in a Clover deck. You really want it to copy your removal with Clover. This is keepable. We don't have a 1, but we are on the draw, so we might find our third land in time to get Annex going, and Robber is nice and removal if we need it.
And the Rebuke is great for those big things. It's your Omnath killer.
Haven't seen any Omnath yet, interestingly. Gonna go with Robber.
Robber.
Doesn't get us a card here. We're tied on cards, but we're more likely to dump our hand. Although, yeah, Black has a lot of discards, so they might actually help us along for making the Robber effective. Well, they help the Robber along, that's for sure. To the graveyard. Just Annex here, though, is good. Love this card as a heavy red player in general, and Annex was one of my favorite printings because it just does the thing.
All right.
So we can champ, and if they block champ,
it's not an instant.
It's not an instant. Okay, never mind. Well, do we offer up Annex? I mean, their creature dies, and we get we could cleave. Even no, we can't cleave.
So I would be willing to trade, I think, the champion and the Rebuke for it, I think. Especially with Annex out. I think you just have to.
Okay. So we're gonna leave. We can also just you're not interested in offering Annex, because I mean we 2-for-1 ourselves. We do get
offer the Annex.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you're saying leave Annex back and just offer the champ.
Swing with both. If you wait too long, this game's over. And this way, you still get a 1-1. Still, 1-1 trades. This is another reason I love Fire Prophecy. Getting rid of that extra Ember Cleave.
Right. The redundant legend.
Yes, that is so nice to have a way out.
Well, let's spread around the Death Touch. And do we... Let's see, we can attack and cleave, and the cleave gives first strike, so this is great for us, really.
This is crazy good for the blocking.
Turns out Embercleave is a good card. Are you all aware of that? That Embercleave is a good magic card? They couldn't even block, and we're going to do it anyway. Turns Anax into an absolute beast.
It's good for about 10 points of damage.
Land? Discard fodder? I think we hold.
Yeah, just hold. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. You have Embercleave, and you're going to win.
Partly because even if they have that, there's the 5 mana small stuff, Wrath, but we would get 2 more out of Anax in that case. Unfortunately, we have Death Touch first strike, so all of that doesn't really matter. This way... It becomes a force block over there anyway. We can't quite win here. But it's close. Anax got Death Touch from the Hunted Nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Trample. Yeah, Trample.
From
the equipment made that. Sicko. Embercleave, ladies and gentlemen. Embercleave. It'll be here all season. Try the veal.
All right, you want to switch decks?
Yes.
All right, so this is a weird mono-black enchantment aggro control deck. It's really the black-white deck done straight up in black, where it seems to be a little bit better. All the cards seem to sing. There are 2 cards I'm not really happy with right now. The time Timerad isn't quite good enough. Oh, could you go back to the shade? Up one.
Oh, this one?
That one, Skyclave Shade. That thing is so insanely.
That's a female. You're talking about Shade, yeah.
Yeah, the Shade, not the. Yeah, that right there. That thing is off the charts power level. I don't understand why it's not being played all over the place. This is better than the 2/1 for 1. It comes back basically forever, easily. It's, a sacrifice target. It's just so good. I just don't understand. People can mill it into your graveyard, and then you can hit them for efficient creatures. I mean, efficient beating out of the graveyard is crazy.
Someone asking about Lurrus, but Lurrus would eliminate Elspeth's Nightmare, Timuret Calls the Dead, and Demonic Embrace, right?
So that's if Lurrus was a companion. I've considered Lurrus instead of the Tiamat, and it maybe should
I see.
be in there.
Non-companioning, sure.
So
I'll throw one in.
That maybe if you want to toss those 2 out and put in the.
Let's just split it. Let's just split the difference and see how Lurrus behaves. So we'll try that. I gotta take out these swamps, though. Dionysus, you still around? I'm not gonna even. I won't torture him anymore. Let's pick something else besides throwing the horns. We'll just use one of these new Zendikars. There we go.
I worked on the first Zendikar set.
You did. That's right. That makes sense. It was right before my time, and you were right before my time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Mike Turian was lead developer, right?
He was.
Mike Turian, when you give him the reins of a set, that man does not mess around. He's going to make some powerful stuff, and he's going to put his stamp on it. And as anybody who knows Mike Turian's history knows that man likes to turn things sideways. So, Goblin Guide, that is about the Turianist card I've ever seen. Was that all his? Like, who made Goblin Guide?
No, it wasn't actually.
Well, he sure loved it, I bet.
Absolutely. It was part of a cycle. There's a cycle of there's a cycle of things that would fetch a land. They were forecasting constitutions. And red was supposedly the opposite on it, and it took a while because originally the Goblin Guide was a 2/2 for 4 that fetched a mountain.
Wow.
And somehow or another we were having this conversation, because I remember the conversation when sort of collectively we came up with, we need to reverse this and have the goblins give the opponent a land.
That was yours?
Make it I was in the discussion. I don't quite know who I would assign it to. You know how those discussions are.
Oh, yeah. It's all cooks in a kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, we were all sitting in one of the side conference rooms, just chit-chatting about this one because one of the cards didn't work right. Okay, so they're putting out a defensive, so...
Pretty good against our lineup here, but we do have a dead weight to make it a little less imposing next turn. What do you think?
So, yeah,
Ephemia,
I would or... a Skyclave Shade. No, the Shade. Don't put Ephemia out
until you can do something
to immediately draw with it.
Right.
Also, don't be afraid to let that thing die. So
yeah, it's easy to come. That's the thing. It's so dumb. I mean, it's incredible and limited, and usually
it's incredible and constructive.
Usually, low toughness can't block stuff is just not there in limited. You know, it just doesn't. It just gets blanked so quickly. But the fact that this keeps coming back and comes back as 5 power just makes it absurd. We're gonna do Awakening, and I guess we're gonna pay. Gotta kill this thing, right?
Yeah, well, here's a weird thing. You've got to drop the dead weight on the Innkeeper.
Yeah, we can't.
You have no choice.
This just takes over games. Beanstalk Giant.
You don't want to risk anything.
Yeah, even Borrower starts to draw, although they don't have... They're a little short. Given that we know what's up here, we could take the risk since the Innkeeper's not doing much.
Swing them. See what they do.
Yeah, I'm going to do that
first and let them figure it out. They're going to be really confused, and now
we get both.
You want to go for it. I mean,
so this is... Innkeeper is so weird to leave alive. I'm only doing it because we know their hand and they actually have some work to do before they can really abuse this. That's why we let it live. And worked out. Now we get to offer Shade again, and I'll just attack first.
This is going to be ugly for them because your aggro is off the board.
Yeah, we get to drop another Shade,
swing first,
an Ephemia, and then the Ephemia
grabs the dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
Or you just drop 2 dead weights out.
2 Shades, you mean?
2 Shades out, sorry.
Oh. I've been talking about how mono red is a great bargain option, but really most mono decks are, although Wizards knows that and seems like they're trying to do something about that. One of the reasons that monocolored decks have historically been so budget is that they don't have expensive lands demanding they get in the deck. So in this case, they've made mythic lands. So if you're going to be super competitive, you need to run these mythics in your mono decks. But you can replace them with a swamp. It's not, they are essential for competitive tournament play, but not for grinding out your matches on Arena.
swing first. You're
Yeah.
almost never going to play the Hagra as a land. It is just so good in this fight.
I took out one copy of Timuret, Craig. And, sorry, are we going... Let's see, we can't two-spell.
I would probably drop Timuret here.
Call the dead. Hello, dead!
See what we can get. And, yeah, we still get our 2/2s out of here. And we'll get one next turn, and we'll get a scry, and all sorts of good fun.
Well, now they get to start rebuilding hand. We're going to try and get them dead before that matters. Probably need to kill another Fae of Wishes here and just basically ignore Innkeepers and accept that they're going to have certain power level. From that, ooh, that's nice though. Let's exile.
Not the
favor.
So there's an order for doing that.
Yeah.
Enchantments first. Actually, non-enchantments
non-auras.
Possible, then enchantments that aren't favors first. Non-creature. So Elspeth or Deadweight are both fine.
Gotcha. Favor, we can play Eidolon and favor an Innkeeper, but
I would
just maul the Wish.
Swing and see what Oppo does.
You don't want to try and get the Fae out of the way for extra damage here?
That's a toss-up. You could do that as well. That's also a good plan.
It's just they get easy blocks on the Shade, and we don't have...
Sure.
I guess we have Favor. We do have Favor to finish it off. It's known.
That's what made it so tempting.
Yeah.
I think all roads lead to Rome.
Okay, I'm going to do it without clearing it first. The Favor says we can do it without using our premium removal anyway, so why not? Okay. They're going to get draw a bunch, but we get to go Eidolon, Favor.
Eidolon, Favor.
And I assume that when we're escaping, we want to avoid enchantments and auras because they are fuel for Ephemia that we don't want to use for other purposes.
That is correct.
Good point.
We had a Nightmare in the hand?
Nightmare! I exiled a Nightmare in the Yard over the Deadweight, and I didn't think about it, but Rob points out that the Lurrus we added can cast the Deadweight. It cannot cast the Nightmare, so as long as Lurrus is in the deck, it adds another layer of what you should exile in what order. Do we want that Favor? Yeah, it takes out the Borrower. Draws us a card. That seems fine. Although this does it already.
This Nightmare in the hand, which is really nice.
So we can Nightmare an Innkeeper, and we don't get to Favor, but we can Ephemia. Yeah, Borrower can't block. Good point, Rob. I'm just going to keep attacking, but not with our Eidolon. That's doing good stuff as a static ability.
Swing with it.
Really? You liked it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess... Sorry, I was thinking of that Borrower again as a blocker, but the Borrower's not a blocker.
So here, you're going to play that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Take your pain. And now you can drop...
I was going to play Ephemia, but I can't help but replay a Skyclave.
Probably better.
What's that?
Yeah, dropping a Shade is better.
Yeah.
I was forgetting about that so much. Shade is good.
Shade turns out, like you say, not a bad magic card. I do love the adventure deck, by the way. I love any deck that runs 4 Innkeepers and 4 Clovers. I love the mechanic.
I'm afraid the Clovers are a little too strong.
I don't know. They haven't banned it yet. It can't be that strong. Alright, here's that Favor. And
good pull.
Let's throw this on the borrower that's killing us in the air. Oh, we don't have the card draw anymore, but still worth doing, I suppose.
I wouldn't worry that. Well, I would probably take out the guild mage and take out the. Well, you can. There's a
The
lot of
innkeeper, you mean?
Yeah, the keeper.
Yeah, we have time. I mean, we can kill all this stuff. We can do both, really. I'll start with the innkeeper. And what about... We could just get this going. Blocks the borrower, make it 2/2. Or do you just want... We can kill the borrower. We're at 12.
We're at 12.
I'm going to go kill the borrower, but I'm going to offer this shade first. Can't block anyway, so might as well send this.
Right.
And I'm going to take out the borrower. Let's see. Mauling. And one hateful, and that's enough. Yeah. And we'll keep the mauling. Might keep us alive here. Gonna have a big giant coming.
There is definitely another giant coming. Now, one of the nice things, you can also chump block forever.
Right. Well, can't play both of these because of legendary, but we can't. Oh, and we don't have. I guess we have Ephemia and Timoret, so we can get on board with a bunch of stuff. We're getting pretty overwhelmed by force here, though. But I don't see what else we have to do besides put 3 creatures out and hope it's enough. Quad favor. I think we can get rid of one of these favors and still manage.
Radiant, I think you're right. Clover would have been better if it had been a legendary artifact.
You two are no fun. That's what I say.
Yeah, you know, he's right. It would have been a better design.
They probably had to move it to rare at that point. Would you put a rare, a legendary artifact at uncommon outside of like Dominaria, where that's kind of the thing?
Probably not. But and otherwise, I mean, it should have been 3.
Doesn't feel like we have much to do to survive here. Oh, that especially. Like, we kind of had it if we didn't, but we're now pretty well doomed. But let's see, just in case. So we can kill one thing for 4. Those can't block, so we can't even use them. And it's just too much. We're done. But is it dominating standard? I think we're exaggerating how impactful Clover is on the format. It is a major player. Major player. Very important card in standard. Is it dominating standard? I don't think so.
I don't think it dominates standard. So I feel like the more decks that are possible, the better. And one of the things that needs to happen is there's a group of cards that I'm going to define as good. And the range of cards that we're going to call good, meaning standard playable, has to be tighter than it is. So that a few outside don't crush the entire environment.
That's fair. And Tron, sure, I should open this up to chat. Anybody wants to play me? Let's put your quarter on the counter, put your quarter on the cabinet, and reserve next game. I should come up with a command, an exclamation point quarter command that creates a play queue. Some mod will have that done before I'm finished with this game. Sure, Tron gets next.
So, weirdly enough, I would have played this one differently.
Oh yeah,
I would
I'm
have
just
dropped the favor on top of the
Eidolon.
Yeah.
I'm only thinking in terms of removal. We can do it here. It turns out. Although if we timber it,
right.
Well, we don't have anything in the yard yet. Is it worth chancing? Are we gonna mill 3 is gonna work?
Yeah.
All right.
The stack.
So stack with it.
Right. There's very few misses.
But we found it. We found a miss.
You found 3 misses.
Doesn't mean you were incorrect. Just funny. That was some very small percenter. Like, what percent of this deck is a miss? The 3 maulings. Couple of land spells in the lands, like that's about it. Oh, I don't know what I clicked there. I was just trying to gain focus again, and it clicked something. I guess I exiled Deadweight. Everybody didn't even see.
Something happened to my screen that sort of routed everything.
Yeah, that was weird. So how about send in, see if that champ wants to block. Feels like they got to block some stuff, and then we can favor appropriately after that if there's some blocking.
I'm having to reload my screen for you for a moment. Oh no, and it's gonna make it for a moment.
I didn't think they were going to go for the champ block, but thought I would try. Jay is sorting out.
I am sorting out my tech. There we go. Now I'm back up here. So they didn't block.
No,
so
I can
just double timber it.
Hello, Dad. Do you want the favor down now on the Eidolon?
No, because you've got too many potential targets coming in for it.
Okay. These zombies are enchanting. Archon of Sun's Grace is gonna make flying zombies effectively. Nightmare can go again. Oh boy, this is complicated. We've got a lot to choose from. We really need a dead champ or we need removal, right? So if it's not removal, I'm not interested. So let's cut everything not removal. That's removal. We'll keep it. And this is actually good. We can take out the champ here, and then we have removal on top for the Archon.
That seems good.
Favor can't. We could throw that on like a zombie and attack.
I would. It's almost as good in the graveyard.
That's a fine trade.
Absolutely.
I just barely even know what's going on, except prompts keep coming up and asking me if I want zombies, and I keep saying yes.
Poor Pegasus can't quite keep up with this.
Yeah, just wait till we draw a removal. Might just get the scoop. Well, they got some value out of it before we could get rid of it, but I think we'll recover. We've made more 2/2s than them, and... You mean you get to check their hand? Nope, nothing there. Look at this scry, my goodness. We don't need a castle. We have a favor going around. We kind of don't want any of this because we have an Euphemia in play already, right?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of any of this stuff.
This deck's terrible, Jay. Look, we just scried 5 to the bottom.
Wow, I think it's either really good or really bad.
Yeah.
When you do that.
Well, I think attack. Do we want to offer Euphemia for one of the Pegasi is what I'm wondering. And is this... they just naturally have lifelink, so it doesn't matter about like killing this to take away lifelink or something. So...
Swing with everything except for the Eidolon.
Eidolon, right? Yeah, we'll accept a dead Euphemia here. Might have been a reason like keep another one on top. And it did not suck to draw a card there.
And don't forget, we do have our land about to come onto play, and we
can do shade.
And we have a shade, and don't forget you gotta kill the thing first. Though.
Yeah, I was like, we don't really have the room for the shade here. I'm just gonna kill the thing and move on.
Yeah. You see why I'm kind of just a little dissatisfied with the demigod.
Mm-hmm. Although it really hoses certain strategies, like it's just a silver bullet against some stuff.
It could. I realize it. It's such a good card. It's hard to argue against playing good cards, but it's just not good enough.
Well, they're looking to set up a strong D here. But favor creates a lethal threat out of any zombie. Maybe we want to play Timuret and make a lethal threat out of this zombie. But look, we drew more removal, so...
Yeah, take out the champion.
Yeah, champ's got to go before it gets any bigger. And then do we trade... zombie for damage? I say no, because we can favor it up to get a zombie through that way next. Calyx makes sense. Good card. But maybe we'll be able to fade here. Right now we just get to keep making 4/1 zombies that they get to choose how they want to deal with. Calyx is behind a nice wall, though. Although, interesting, I say, what is that? Attack? Please, attack!
Really? That's...
As it is, tempted to even fire off the castle. If we find a land, we could still favor... But I guess we start with the favor.
Start in favor and swing and kill one. And then drop out the Tiamat.
Do you want to send at face or Calyx or Planeswalker?
Send that to Planeswalker.
Makes it a little more of a forced trade here, expecting the Wanderer to take one for their team.
One down.
Oh, really? Why Dryad, I wonder? I guess they want this trigger. Makes sense. It's a good trigger. Oh yeah, that's reserved for the Prodigal Sorcerer, but what about this?
There are some...
Clothis, show me my path.
Tim?
Okay, Tron, no worries. Well, I thought we had this one, and now it's actually looking to me like it's starting to slip away from us.
It is a little bit, but we'll see. It's far from one.
But that's the thing, Radian. I don't think I ever called Prodigal Sorcerer Timmy. I called Prodigal Sorcerer Tim, right? I think Timmy is okay for Timoret because of the because it is different from the classical use of the word. Splitting meaningless hairs with chat. What else would I want to do with my time?
So that land is actually pretty good because it's going to give us...
We can castle and favor?
Well, the shades.
Oh, right. Yeah. Shade's more important.
Don't forget it gets the 5/3 shade.
Right, we can do that 5/3ness now.
Because the 3/1 is just too small.
Do we pitch the duress so that castle doesn't hurt us in the future?
No, we don't. We hold it for the 3/1 enchantment.
Okay.
Look skyward and receive the gifts of the gods.
All right.
It's almost like playing limited, just with lots of power.
Right. This does have somewhat of a limited feel right now, although I feel like it's slipping away. I don't think our engine is gonna outdo our opponent's engine right now.
We have a couple of top decks. The 3/1 enchantment would immediately kill the planeswalker, and that would help a lot.
Yeah, unfortunately. Don't have that.
But you should swing with the 5/3 first.
Yeah, at Calyx again. Just gonna get blocked, and then we'll bring it back.
So here's an interesting question. Before you do that...
Oh, sorry, I'm acting fast. Tell me your interesting question, though. It can still be an interesting question.
You might have used the castle here.
I'm figuring we just need to keep slamming the shade every turn, or we're gonna... I just feel like, I don't know. Do we have a plan, or is there any way to win this game, or are we just kind of checking out our cards?
We definitely have ways to win this game.
Really, it's about the flying enchant, though, right? We just need to kill Calyx, or we're done for.
Correct. We need to turn the corner.
Nothing to do but use that before exile. Rocket!
Because you're right, we are falling slightly more and more behind.
Every one of these land drops is a dagger. All right, I think we probably give this one to Oppo.
Yeah, go ahead and give it to Oppo.
We don't really have the tools to come back from this. Rather give a fresh start. We could... Let's do one more here with this deck.
Do we want to discuss The Walking Dead while we've got this one coming up?
Sure.
So...
Especially, I'm playing with Tron, so he'll understand if we're a little chatty here.
So, I guess this is an interesting issue. I know why they did it, and the why I feel like is relevant to the subject. How do you make more money than a booster pack? in paper. That is the eternal problem.
Yes, the perfect business model problem. If you go if in R&D you pitch an idea to make something, you have to clear why not just make more booster products, right?
Absolutely. And it is most of the things that Wizards puts out, they should have just printed booster packs. Um, and the secret layer stuff and print is, and there's sort of two components, and I think David is sort of referring to that. There's the secret layer, which is a way to potentially make more money than a booster pack. But there's also the issue of printing cards out of sets to grow other things. So I don't know if you know, I printed a card that was unique art. Actually, I printed 2 unique art cards in my time. I printed a copy of the Rack and a copy of Garrick. There was the Garrick promo for Duels, and there was the Duels of the Planeswalker set had a unique art rack that no one realized.
Huh. I'm going to duress here.
Absolutely. And so no one seems to really have a problem with unique art. Probably just be safe and take the hinge.
Yeah.
People tend to get really upset about unique cards, and part of it is Mana Crypt was a problem when they put that in the book.
Yes, the biggest problem of low print run unique cards is creating have and have not world where only the rich can play your sweet new card.
But they already have that. Only the rich can play Eternal. You have to have crazy money to play Eternal these days. I mean, it is hard to imagine. I mean, can you play Eternal with a deck that's worth less than 5 or 10,000?
Eternal. Well, I mean, yes, you can obviously.
Sure, you can. But
competitively,
you're right, David. I can't. We'll come back to that in a moment. When the Magic deck is more expensive than the card that brought it in, which is almost always the case for legacy vintage formats. And the thing that Dave is bringing up, people have a lot of ego in their commander decks.
For sure.
I mean, the rarest card is the World Champion card, which there's one of. There were like a handful of Richard's wedding cards.
Proposal.
Yeah, proposal. Then I think it's some of the holiday cards that Wizards made for their employees.
Yep.
And for some reason, those cards also seem to be okay. I don't hear people complaining every time there's a Christmas card made.
Yeah, but we're talking silver bordered, right?
No.
Christmas cards are all silver bordered.
No, they're not.
Well, all the ones I've ever seen.
I've got a couple that aren't. Or
I call Jay Schneider. I call.
Season's Beatings wasn't.
Season's Beatings was.
Are you sure?
I'm almost certain that all Christmas cards were silver bordered. But it's okay. I mean, it's not like that's never happened, though.
Right. And the Walking Dead cards are terrible. Nobody's going to ever play them. Now, I think Walking Dead's a terrible IP to have done this with, but, expanding into different IPs is an interesting idea. It might help grow the product line. It might lead to better products. It just feels weird.
Well, truly, I think it is about silver bordered. I think if you take away, if you put a silver bordered on him, there is no controversy of any kind right now, except maybe like people not liking an IP invade. But we've already had that. I mean, it's certainly not a new controversy. You don't like Godzilla. You don't like insert, themed overlap here, but I really think it's the choice to make it legal, even if it's not likely to be powerful. Again, I would bring up, they think that about Nexus of Fate, or was that intended to be really powerful? I thought Nexus of Fate was also kind of trying to be well, don't worry about this one, it's not that good, and then it turned out to be kind of busted.
Right.
And to me, the consistent problem I've seen the community railing on is the black borderedness. And okay, according to Aaron Forsyth, Nexus was a mistake. So the point is, they're quite capable of making mistakes, thinking that they're making something safe, and then turning out that it's not. Of course, I was kind of holding on to my removal, trying to wait for the Yorvo, but finally it was like, well, he's stuck on land. I'll finally go for it here, and then of course, yeah. But
okay.
we are.
Don't forget you can swing with that 3/1 and it'll get through.
Yeah, because he can't block, or else we get to follow up and kill. That's fair. So let's send this one.
Well, that looks all kinds of good for us.
Yep.
And we get to draw a bunch of cards on the way.
And we'll throw down a castle. Duress and Nightmare. Or actually, wait, Duress and Instant. We want non-enchantments first.
Yeah, that's correct. More cards.
And we can actually wait and use this as a spell here. What does it even do? Return from your graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that each have a different converted mana cost, X or less. So only one right now for that, but it does something.
Well, it could bring back an Eidolon if we need one. It would be great if there was a sweeper here.
I keep thinking about it, and I do believe that the reason, and I didn't catch Aaron the full thing yesterday that explained what their thinking was, but I do feel like the black bordered is because they're trying to make an impact. They're trying to appeal to these people. They're trying to make something for the Walking Dead / Magic fans, or like whatever goals they have for those cards. They felt like they needed to be black bordered to meet those goals because of how we all poo-poo and dismiss black bordered, that it's not a real card, that to get Magic players excited, you need to give something that they can play in Commander, because you show up to you roll into your Commander session with silver bordered, most people are going to say no to you. Maybe I shouldn't say most. So I get how they also arrived at, no, we want to try black bordered so that they're, quote, real, But I don't know.
So I'm wondering if maybe one solution for Magic would be to be printing out an overwhelming number of cards.
An overwhelming number of what?
Unique cards. Right.
Just overdo it.
And that could... Again, in order to do that effectively, you'd better have an AI system to make sure you don't mess up the world. But you could potentially do something with that might be really, really fun and interesting. I mean, imagine if you have cards in your deck that are truly unique. So one of the interesting things that happened to me in World of Warcraft was I had a unique Magic item that was significant. I know that sounds ridiculous, but there are a certain category of items from original World of Warcraft that were basically one per server drop. I had a unique buff that gave plus 10 IQ. That kept me playing World of Warcraft for years longer than I would have otherwise. I had the only one on the server, and most servers didn't even have one. And this was a random rare drop from doing Stratholme. And if World of Warcraft can do it, Magic can do it.
So, what do you want? I also wanted to know if you have had these types of decisions in your non-Magic work, because you're in a world where you could end up with a lot of promo type opportunities for the games you're working on. Have you faced anything like this in your non-Magic?
I have, actually. So Shadowrun Crossfire, I got given the orders to make a new set of cards for Las Vegas for Gamma. They wanted some unique cards that they could give to the top 100 retailers that they could take back to their stores for Crossfire. Now, I kind of skirted the difference when they did this. They were the equivalent of black border cards, but they have this special rule. They only have their special powers in Vegas expansions. Basically under
So
the rule,
really
what
forced
happens
it,
in Vegas
confined it.
stays in Vegas.
I see what you did there.
I sort of made a micro environment that these cards excelled in. So that was my solution when I got pushed up to the wire and had to come up with something.
Some constraint around them.
That said, I also printed a Troll Elvis impersonator, which is one of the finest pieces of art I've ever commissioned.
Was it? I almost hope it was a Foglio.
It wasn't a Foglio. It may have been Echo Chernik, though.
I don't know the name.
Echo is she's probably the best Shadowrun artist.
Okay. So my point is, like, this isn't like unique to Magic. You know, anybody making games with collectible pieces, any kind of collectible game has a temptation and an ability to make this kind of stuff. It just has to be done so carefully. And what really baffled me about the rollout and the subsequent stream in which Aaron and there was somebody else who kind of does these promotions for them now. I forget which member of the team it was, but they both seemed truly surprised that there was community outrage, like, and they seemed to be expressing that it caught all of them off guard, that us in R&D just didn't see this coming, and that flabbergasted me.
Yeah, because Nalethny Dragon left a crater that had at least 20 years of memory behind it.
Right. Mark Hagan, thank you. And Mark Rosewater has written about the problems of this type of thing. You know, people have people have appropriately called up Mark's previous words on this and said, look, here's an article in which you lay out the 4 reasons not to do this, and you did it. And then you're telling us that you're all surprised. Like, you've written articles about why the community reacts terribly to this kind of thing. Then you did it. And then you had no idea the community was going to react terribly. And I'm just like, really, Aaron? Because then, rehire me, because you need someone like me in the room, I guess, because I would have absolutely raised my hand and said, they're going to react terribly to this, right? Hey, hello, room. Like, we have history. We know that our hardcores are going to rail against this, right? At least be eyes wide open. I just cannot believe that nobody said that. How did nobody in R&D say that? And because before that interview, I had expressed on Monday, hey, everybody, it's a room full of different opinions. The buck stops with somebody, and somebody makes the call. No doubt there were people in R&D pointing out the pitfalls, and the powers that be decided that this was the right thing to do anyway. That was my take on Monday. then I see this stream in which Aaron's like, couldn't play around it, had no idea. And I'm just like, what? That smacks to me as like, has groupthink gotten that bad in R&D? Is there no contrarian voices at least keeping your eyes wide open? Because that seems crazy to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's impossible to imagine that people didn't think this was going to be a problem. I just disbelieve. I have to believe that, Aaron was
Glossing it
underwatching
over
orders.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Or playing down those that did. I mean, because what I was expecting to hear was, yes, we knew that we knew some people weren't going to like this, but had no idea the volume was going to be this loud. Like, that was kind of what I was expecting to hear, but more I heard no clue at all that there was going to be negativity. And I'm just like, wow.
And that's certainly that's just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, my first thought was, is there no one there who's been there for long enough? And
of course the answer is yes. Yes, there is. Mark
plenty of
Rosewater is there. Bill Rose is still there. Eric Lauer is still there. Turian is back there. Turian was there and is now back again.
There.
Charlie is there. There's people who've been there for over 20 years managing this stuff, which is why that part didn't ring true to me, and I'm not sure. I really would have just liked to hear, we understood the risks and we did it, as opposed to who could have seen those risks coming, which is what I felt like I heard, which baffled me. However, we can keep talking. I'm going to take one moment to, my daughter needs something from me. I'm going to mute. Hold on.
Well, yeah, I didn't see the thing with Aaron David, but
yeah. The Aaron and Mark thing. Yeah. I'll link it to you after. You might be, or maybe somebody can find the link to the, it's pretty easy to find, Twitch/Magic, and look at their recent past broadcasts, but there you go.
In the channel.
Yep. There you go. The Kibler Googling is strong around here. So,
Right.
We will continue talking, but let's go back to this deck. Anyway, I wanted to hear from Jay on this because I was really confused. I wanted to hear if Jay was confused. Jay has some good follow-up thoughts, but seems confused a little bit too. So
I'm confused too. That's fair. It's just, there's got to be some way to do it, but blah. Could you do it any worse?
Right. It's like all of them. It's like, let's check all of the boxes at once. Let's make it limited edition, black bordered, in a new IP, new mechanics, and in a retail by Wizards on a limited edition. It's like, let's put all 6 things people hate in one product and see if they like it. Like,
and the other thing was, there was nothing sexy enough about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's The Walking Dead. I mean, of IPs you could do this with. I mean, if they did it with something really cutting edge.
Yeah, like people are saying it's somewhat magic adjacent because of the zombies, but I'd say like it's real world with guns, rated R. Those 3 things all in themselves remove any kind of adjacency that I would have about it. But yeah, they got zombies. We cross over on the zombie front, but that's about it. All right.
Okay.
Thank you for those comments, Jay. You've got an Azorius control deck to look at.
Absolutely, because I know you like him, and I kind of like him too. And there was a card that wasn't being played enough that I was really excited about. Skyclave Apparition.
Where's that?
It's sort of top center.
Here we go.
One
Yes.
white. That thing is amazing. It really is. It is a 187 creature that has the down effect of leaving, but it takes out anything. And remember, it never comes back.
Right.
So if
something comes back. Ostensibly, something better could come back.
Whatever. It's not going to be something better. It's
not
gonna
in
be
constructed.
A chunk. It's a crappy little token that you have a million ways to deal with. I mean, this is a deck built around wrathing every turn anyway.
Right.
And this is just, hey, 3 casting cost, kill anything 4 mana or less.
Although, what about that non-bow? Can you speak to the non-bow for a second? Because I get nervous in a control deck running an Oblivion Ring style effect on a creature with Wraths, because for those of you who aren't following, like, you play this card, and I play this on turn 3 and exile your 3/3, and it goes away. If I feel the need to shatter in a couple turns, it's going to shatter away the apparition, and it's going to leave behind a body, when the whole point of these types of effects is to completely clear the board. So how do you think of in terms of putting those types of non-bows in the deck, and how do you handle them in play?
First of all, I usually chump block before I'm going to Wrath.
Mm-hmm. So basically, just don't do it. If you've got the apparition out, use that.
Use that to chump block or whatever. Second of all, look, the Mana War is right below it. Remember, Mana War...
Have a plan, basically, right? Like,
well,
you can do the non-bow if you know that coming up you're going to kill the token anyway, right?
No. You bounce your guy.
Oh, sure.
You just bounce your own creature back, leave it there, and then you can let the Mana War die to the Wrath.
Right. Cool. Sure. But so basically, yes. So it is if you don't play it carefully, you could have a unwanted result from this kind of combo. But there are plenty of tools in here to make that not be a problem.
Is a great tool for it. There's all sorts of ways you can play around it, and this is definitely a thinking person's deck. But if you don't want to think, why are you playing blue-white control?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a chance to play with all sorts of other little toys. If Omnath is this is set up to fight Omnath. It's still. I come back to the worth saying of there are no bad threats, only bad answers.
Yeah.
And that's very much true. Omnath, even against an anti-Omnath deck, is still advantaged.
Right. And that's historically, frankly, why removal has been cheaper than the threats they tend to take out. It's because they're narrower. The removal, your answers just do less. They're harder to use than just, here's a thing, I'm going to cast it and try to kill you with it, right? Doesn't matter what else is going on, cast it, try and kill you with it. Anybody out there want to bring Omnath? Since this, Jay is telling us that this is somewhat tuned to be an Omnath competitor. I'm looking for someone to challenge me at this profile. You can also look at it from here. This is the Going Optimal account. Someone put a quarter on the machine and bring me an Omnath matchup. All right, I'm going to go into the rando pool. All right, we'll start with a rando, but if anyone who wants to join and bring Omnath, let me know. All right, flip lands. What do you think of these designs?
Oh, I love them. Just thought they were fantastic. They allow you to play really heavy land and not be harmed by the choice.
Yep.
And they're interesting. They got the power level right.
In fact, we're going to do that right here. I'm going to play. We're not playing Ondu Inversion forever, so let's play it as a land right now.
That one as a land. Although actually, the castle is probably what you wanted to play first. You actually really want that force spike up as quickly as possible.
Fair. I was thinking we would. In my head, we had the force spike ready on turn 2, but
right,
because with Yorion Sky Nomad, it covered this up. I just thought it was an island over here. But we should probably. Well, we play a plains. We can play the Maze Mind Tome, but
the plains and get the tome out.
Really, but then we are likely 2 turns away from having available blue.
You're right. We lost that option.
All right, just making sure that was not the more important option.
Right, we're gonna go the Shadow route, and we do have 2 Wraths. So
yeah, it's true that with Shatter and Realm Cloaked, we are Not going to die to a creature horde
So,
unless they counter it.
I don't know if you recognize this deck or not. This
This
is
one?
the most common and kind of awful deck. It's this rogue deck that wastes a lot of its time milling you, and it never wins based on its milling like all mill decks. So it just has a bunch of
Incidental
cards.
mill.
Yeah, just don't even look.
But it's trying to do the 8, the partial
It does
mill is
the
good
8,
for me,
yeah.
right? Are we scrying here? Like with the tome?
Actually, we're gonna.
We look pretty good. I mean, I don't know what we're
It's
scrying
a
for.
toss up here. They're actually a damage deck, so
I suppose we
I think
could
the
look
fourth
for an
counter
island.
Isn't bad. Yeah, scry for an island. Don't forget, we can also use.
Hey, that counts. If we are willing to take 3.
We're not in this fight.
And it also actually doesn't let the Vantress untap anyway. So you want to bin that?
I'd bin it.
All right, I like I mean, Vantress can enter untapped. Disruption never can. If we're not going to counter anymore, I like playing Disruption.
We're gonna counter later, but go ahead, play that. That's fine.
You can draw a card to do something here. And they're in a spot where they now have to decide, as a classic creature-based deck, I'm playing against blue-white control. Do I add creatures to this board knowing that they could be on a Wrath effect? And Shatter is looking for power, so that unfortunately brought the Scavenger to power 4, which would now let him draw a card, making Shatter not great, but still buys us some time.
It's still great. Once you get the reset, you're in business. They're probably going to hold for the counter spells because that is what they do.
Yes, and well,
So
Vantress would enter tapped
and draw the counter,
yeah, and then try and do it again next turn. But we would,
and then try and do it again next turn. They won't expect 2 in a row from an 80 card deck.
this is really hard to click on in this with this extended words was making it weird. All right, so yeah, we're expecting a counter, but we're gonna make him have 2 because we have hopefully a Realm Cloaked for next turn.
Right. There it is.
And we can scry for free, so we're going to be doing that, looking for a basic land.
And now they overextend, and hopefully we win.
Or they have another counter and we lose. But that's also
Or they
how
have another
constructed
counter
magic
and we
goes.
And that is, we gave them a good test.
All right, Craig, we'll take you next.
Don't forget that when that thing breaks, it does give us 4 life.
Right. Well, looks like we're going to need to use that life and hope to survive off it.
Can we survive off of it? No.
Well, we get 4 off of that. We get a blocker here. And... Right? Oh, don't we? Oh, no, sorry. This is on... The chapter 2 is create the wall. Never mind. So are we just dead? I guess we have to omen and hope.
Yeah.
In that case, we want to scry. Start with a scry 1 and then the omen scry. So yeah, that's not good enough here. We need land.
Or you need the...
I think we're just dead, really.
No, you've got 1 card that'll pull it for you.
What's that?
Oh no, we don't have land for it.
Yeah, we need like the land and the spell.
Yeah, I was thinking we could get by with
Shatter. We could almost do it. We just need Shatter is helpful, but we need something to block. So I don't know if we find it, but yeah, close, but not quite. ETB tapped. Lack of blue. This one slipped away, but Magic Craig is ready with an Omnath deck, so we're going to challenge Craig. Do I have you as a buddy, Craig? Let's find out. Or you can challenge me. Don't see any obvious Magic Craigs there. Get back to my profile. Craig can find me. So, no problem, Craig. Well, first go to your profile and either tell me who you are and I'll challenge you, or but I need your numbers. So you can use, if you see on this home scene, you can use this direct challenge button and put my display name in here, or you can give me your display name, which is this plus your number, and I can challenge you. All right. So what's the plan against Omnath with this deck? Just
Don't let it hit.
don't let, like, and if it does, kill it on sight.
And if it does, kill it on sight. You can let it hit if you're set up and they're not. But really, you've got 6 counter spells. You really want to use one of them on it, or 7 counter spells for it.
See if this works.
And if it does show up, you've got a couple of 3-drops that can handle it. Speaking of things that you're happy to have a 4/4 token rather than...
Yeah. Slightly fewer abilities on that illusion token than Omnath.
Mm-hmm.
Is it making it through to you at least, Craig? That should have worked. I did throw the number sign in. I'll also do this. Looks like maybe this isn't making it to Craig. I'm going to back out, try it the friend way. Still waiting for Craig to accept. Okay. Might just be... All right, I'm actually going to close the client and open. That'll probably do it. Laggy lag here on the close.
Even with Omnath, they still have plenty of traffic.
Yep. Well, one of the things Aaron said is that Magic is going gangbusters despite current hardcore unhappiness with some decisions. The game itself is at its what I can't remember his exact words, but basically it's doing the best it's ever done right now.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, that's not true for other things. I don't know if you saw Hex finally closed its doors.
No, interesting.
Doors. They announced they're shutting down in a month or 2.
Well, honestly, boy, Hex was as close as you can come to just saying, literally copying Magic and trying to take some of that sweet Magic dollars, I never played it. I'm not gonna. I mean, that's why Eternal. I've played Eternal, and it's good. I've played a lot of Magic adjacent games that are good, but at the end of the day, I only got one mind. I only have the mind space for one lifestyle game in my life.
And that's true for pretty much everybody. And I would also note that I don't think that Hearthstone is doing better than it's ever done.
No, I would say that's probably not the case with Hearthstone. And in part because of Arena, in part because Wizards has stepped up and made some competing products that actually compete. I'm going to go with this. Heading into Birth, into Omen, into Fabled Passage, shattering everything that... Well, Mystical Dispute is good too. That gives us an Omnath answer while still slipping in an Omen or a Birth. But we'll start with... Well, yeah, let's go Birth here.
You got time right now. You can drop your Birth out. Get it going.
I have not read Saffron's article. No. Clomnath deck, apparently. Let's go Vantress. Doesn't really matter, Vantress. Oh, we don't have... Well, we're going to need planes for the double shadow. They know about the planes. Might as well play it. And then we have Omen on the...
And you want to get an Omen because you'd really like to turn the Clover into a 2/2. Another fine trade. And it's not even a 2/2. It's eventually becomes a 2/2.
Right. So that's going to happen. We could dispute it, but then they just make a copy anyway, no?
Yeah, they're going to get 2 lands. They're going to get land advantage. You can't stop it. You've got to get your card advantage not off of lands, but off of other things. The fairies are dangerous.
So Omen, end of turn here. We even get Dispute
absolutely.
up. I think we let that go with our plan of Shatter, right? We just want to counter the Omnath. Although this is a trigger, a cast trigger, so...
That's one that's interesting. You've got to do something about it. So go ahead and go now. You got a lot of counters you'll be able to get.
All right.
Go ahead and take this one out.
We'll do that. Castle... I guess I got it Unfabled Passage. I didn't really think through
Unfabled
which.
Passage. Wait, don't do that.
You don't want to do this? Well, I mean, we're not. You want?
You're gonna Omen into a counter if you need it.
Okay. I figured we were just gonna let him have a turn of nonsense and then untap and shatter. But
I would Omen and
have that chance.
Yeah, you've got the ability to go for it.
What else is in here besides the dispute? Counterwise?
You've got the dispute, and you have. I've been moving a little bit, but basically a remove soul. One of the remove soul variants. Essence Scatter, I think.
I've now made this our active deck too, so here it is for you.
Thinking about it.
I think let that happen.
Don't have much choice.
Well, we could do the Omen thing and look, but I think they're looking for Omnath stuff. We just do this now.
Yeah, if they're at the end of their turn, let's go for it.
No planes. We've got the lands we want. Do we want another Birth of Meletis?
No.
That seems wrong too, right? That's not quite what we want here.
Planes.
Craig also pausing. And I don't see... None of the known cards would lead to this pause, so it seems like Craig has something up here. Smells like potentially the permanent bounce fairy. You know, bounce a couple of things. Although, nothing here is too bad to get bounced. Should we start playing... Do we want... This is where I don't know, like,
so break
with control decks.
So play the sack land and break it immediately.
Okay.
Start with that.
And why breaking it immediately?
Just to thin the deck, because you're going to do some draw stuff.
Sure. Although not with anything... Oh, I guess we have the Triome.
I'll always get blue on this.
Do you want to bring Yorion to hand? Although then we can't do the...
No, it's more important
Cycle
for you to
find.
cycle the land in your hand, but play the birth. You have no counter. They don't know that, but playing the birth doesn't give anything away.
Yeah, and we still have the cycle that... We have all sorts of pauses that suggest what's going on here. And leaving the Yorion without bringing it back also suggests that we have action in hand, so it may cause more carefulness on the... on that front, yeah. So now, if we had something to be able to kill our own creature, would you do it to fizzle like a Bone Crusher Giant or anything?
Sometimes it's it's obviously circumstantial.
Depends, right? We have this,
right
so
here, no, that's more of a Oh, at least I don't have to look at that thing anymore.
all right.
Okay.
So Omnath's going to do some stuff here,
Is going to get in and is going to beat us like a dog. So.
but we got answers for untap, so let's just brace ourselves and
hope it's not too
take
bad.
a little beating here. Like a Beanstalk Giant fetching 2 land drops for land drops 2 and 3 would be pretty rough here. Depending on what's going on here.
I'm within inches of taking this blue-white deck, throwing in the artifact that produces any color, and splashing Omnath.
Why not?
I think it's actually correct, which is what's really bad.
I think Scry 2 may be better than Cycle here. I mean, we know what we're going to do anyway. We're shattering, right?
You see, I like keeping it around because it's really good with... I would rather
cycle... with the Yorion?
Yeah. With
sure.
Yorion.
Okay, well, let's cycle then. Speaking of, there's Yorion. But we're going for a shatter here that, as pointed out, may be counterable. There is blue up. And we'll see.
They generally don't. The story versions, the quest versions don't have a lot of counters, if any. Usually they have to tutor for them.
Maybe bounce. I know the mythic adventure creature doesn't allow self-bounce, but maybe there's something else here? What are they thinking about? What's Craig thinking about?
There's not much that given that we've seen in Clover. See, there we go.
Got it.
We got what we wanted. We still show counter up, and you're within range of doing the 8-drop counter.
Mm-hmm.
Man, these cards are really good. And man, I wish we could draw a counter.
A lot of gasoline just drawn from Craig.
Mm-hmm.
But Omnath doesn't look like it's coming down this turn per se.
The nice thing is we can drop out a cantrip Yorion this turn, which might distract them a bit, and if nothing else, we'll draw us a card.
I do have to finish up in the next, 15 minutes to get on with some deadline-based responsibilities.
2:30 anyway, so
we're going to wrap this up after this game, I think. I'm going to start already thanking our friend Jay for coming back on and sharing some decks and thoughts. Appreciate it.
It is my pleasure. Invite me back again sometime when we have other exciting things.
Yes. Well, there's never a dull moment in MTG these days, it seems. Unfortunately, for better or for worse. Always something to talk about. Mystical Dispute. So they are fetching some of that.
That is the correct items for them to grab.
Yeah, totally. We're gonna note that I didn't play the planes with an eyeball on it, but it still took the eyeball away, so you don't have to worry about that. I just like to point that out. If you play 2 copies of a card and one is known and one is not, and both are in your hand, and you play the unknown one, it will treat it like the known one, provided they're the same version. Wow, that's nice. We'll do that and keep the dispute.
Keep the dispute. Don't. No.
I mean,
I probably
You would have
wouldn't
ditched
have
that?
I wouldn't have kept the Mana War here, but it's not terrible either.
I just thought it was action, but yeah, maybe that wasn't right. Do
Yeah.
we counter this just to deny them some additional mana this turn? Like they have to pay 3, and then they're left with 2.
I need to see what's in their hand.
We know about a neutralize here, so they do have the ability to counter our counter. But again, it still uses it makes them, whether they spend mana or card, they still, no matter what they do, they still spend mana, which is my thinking.
Right.
But I don't. Maybe that doesn't matter.
I think it's a toss-up. It's an interesting play. It gives them the chance to mess up, and I feel like we're behind.
Yeah, although Radianware points out that because of the Mystical Dispute, they only need to spend a single blue mana, which doesn't seem like it stops them as much. And we actually might be better off seeing what they do with it.
The Mystical Dispute out of their hand, though.
Yeah.
I
But
would
they just
love to trade Mystical Disputes with them because they don't have any more counters.
All right. Well, let's use some resources then. Certainly, your money is a more important vote than your voice in most cases like that. I mean, if you can get the ear of the right person, certainly you can have some influence. But what I mean is, and what I agree with MTG Goldfish on, is that fundamentally the community says a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, the business looks at the spending behavior of the player base and tends to react to that more than specific claims from the loudest members of the community.
Okay, Craig, show us what you've got.
Yeah, Omnath us up.
You got Omnath. This is it. Show us how you draw 10 cards and get 50 mana. That wasn't it. Start with a swing.
Yep, might as well attack.
Do they have only a single blue up there on that?
They have green, red, blue. Yeah, only a single blue. So we can resolve stuff through neutralize.
No.
So
you can do some really funny games here by taking your Baron, bouncing your Yorin, replaying your Yorin, fading out the Baron
and the Omen. I like it.
And bouncing when the Yorin comes back, when the Baron comes back in. This is good entertainment. Since they have no counter in.
If we're not winning, we're certainly spinning some entertaining wheels.
Absolutely. I am really surprised Baron didn't see more play.
Maybe it will. Still young yet.
It is. And don't forget, we get a bunch of bonus cards for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Because we triggered Baron's bonus card draw.
Oh, right. Wait, is it?
Delayed triggered effect.
And that'll, even if this is gone, that'll work?
I believe so. It should be, I think it's put in as a delayed trigger.
Well, we'll see. Some science here. My question is, see, the second clause on Baron says, at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent was put into your hand from the battlefield this turn, draw a card. We did that. Will it remember that we did that when Baron is gone? That's my question, but we'll find out.
So I believe that wording is the company for a delayed trigger.
Yeah. I believe Jay. I'm just explaining it.
Oh, no, I
Yeah.
understand. It is a mess and a complex. And
we'll find out. So did you like bouncing their Omnath or going Yorion again.
I would bet. Well, their Omnath gives him a card. Um,
But it does set him back again.
they didn't do anything to us. I'm so confused.
I'm going to do this.
I feel like I should be dead. I feel like he should be dead here.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
Yeah, so do that. At least it annoys him.
yeah, it just feels like, ooh, and then Elspeth could go after Omnath, dispute again.
Mystical dispute.
Although
Yeah.
we don't have the blue this time. Not that it was mattering. Do we really want these? Given that, dispute's not really going to do anything
Yeah,
after this
no,
turn.
Keep the Elspeth.
But we'll keep that. Exciting. Well, hey, Jay, you know, I can finish this game up and you can say goodbye to everybody and not miss your meeting. I don't want you to miss your meeting.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, let's let Jay off the hook. I don't want to be anticlimactic with this game, but everybody give a fond farewell to Jay. He's got a meeting to make it to. We're not going to keep him late for his meeting. So thank you so much again, Jay. Awesome decks. I'm having fun. I'll mess around with them some more, and we'll try to have you back on again before 6 months are up, okay?
That sounds great. Talk to you soon, Ryan.
All right,
Thanks.
bye, Jay.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't look like... That's another reason I chose Omnath instead of my own thing. If we'd done our own thing, it would have definitely triggered the Baron again. But it had already gone through the end step, so it looks like it didn't do that because it was gone. Now we'll let Craig have some fun before I say goodbye to everybody. Maybe I'll start saying my farewells as well. Thank you so much for hanging out for the long stream today, everybody. Been a lot of fun. I had another great chat gauntlet with you all and had a lot of fun checking in with Jay again. It's always fun to get his thoughts on the latest from the world of Magic, and he did not disappoint on that front for me anyway. And now we get to see the power of Omnath. Give Craig a chance to go. This is nice. I don't have to press anything. I'm completely tapped out. So Craig just gets to go off here to the best of his ability with our new buddy Omnath. Clara, I'm not off yet, but we'll be off shortly, okay? Gonna help my daughter get to work. And then I'm gonna get to work on my afternoon chores. I'll say this, there are a lot of different Omnath builds, it looks like. Like, this is Omnath Adventures, which I haven't really played before. I told you I love the adventure mechanics, so maybe I have to kind of look into this one. Anyway, what can we do? Let's go... now, of course, the Negate is up and Neutralize is up, leaving us with very little to accomplish here when all this countering is about. Does that mean we... I guess I send in with Yorion. Although, it does block both of these creatures, so maybe although we could also bring back and try to cast Yorion, the other Yorion. Probably just want to cast Elspeth and let that get countered. And I'll say no attacks because it probably will. This is me knowingly sucking out counter spells. And then we'll pull Yorion to hand and have a big sweeper and a Yorion and just try to draw out all the counters. That's one. Here's another one to get, but slowly, slowly. We can try, right? The trouble is there's another counter. Did I leave it? I don't think I left it on top. But maybe I should have because of that. But it still wouldn't have worked. Like, they still have just so much mana. Anything that's a mana leak based effect is just not going to do anything on this against this mana. If it was our next draw and we knew it, it would show on top. I think I'd binned it. Yeah, there it is. But I think I did so correctly. I just don't think we can get there off of against all this mana with effectively a mana leak. But I shuffled. Maybe we'll get it back. For better or for worse. And that's not the worst, given that we have a Yorion that's legendary waiting in hand anyway. I got like a hard stop, and I'd say 5 minutes. I gotta be off the air in about 5 minutes, so I'll try to play quickly and come up with some sort of resolution on this game. I think Craig is about to take over. We'll see. If we can pull out a counter with the Yorion and then land the inversion, we might be okay. That's a lot of action. I can't even look. My goodness. Dude, look at all this action. Action Jackson. Between Escape to the Wilds and the Ultimatum in this deck, they are the you think this deck is just okay. It's just good, and then you resolve an Escape to the Wilds or the Ultimatum, and you're like, oh, this deck is wide open busted. I see. Yes, I get it now. We're gonna try a Yorion and get a counter out of that. And I like Cycle Triome. Looking for more stuff to do. All right. Oh, whoa, no. I want this. Yes, that's fine. I'm going to put an upkeep stop. We might want to use this on upkeep. Negate. And a Realm Cloaked. Yeah. Although we just want negate with the Ondu inversion we have. And I'll keep both in case the second Realm Cloaked is needed to pull that off. Oh, actually, there we go. We draw just multiple sweepers here. What does this do that I'm forgetting about? So they cost more, but we can pay. Oh, there's a lot. I guess we pay 7 for this and 4 for that. For 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we barely have enough mana to pay the taxed Realm Cloak and negate. New plan, we're gonna deck them. Or new plan, we're dead this turn. Yeah, because then they go to chapter 3, although inversion gets rid of it. So if we can resolve this next turn, that would be something. Let's see what Craig does with his mana. Maybe we have inversion we can cast instead. Yeah, I'm not expecting this, but I'm also letting Craig have his fun before we move on here. Craig, if you're watching this on a replay and I have to scoop on you to get to my thing, I'm sorry. But I promised a ride for my daughter, so... trying to at least get it to the point where we see how this is going to go. I think we're already there. I think if Craig is smart enough and clever enough to leave up counter magic to protect against the worst possible, then he's going to be in fine shape. Essence Scatter doesn't stop our negate or our wrath, so I don't care much about that. I'm not even tracking what's in here. It doesn't even matter. Either we have the tools to resolve or not. But if of course, if the neutralize mana is up, we just know there's that one to deal with. And now probably Bone Crusher for the finish. Golf clap. Well, that's what a busted deck looks like. This thing just gets going and it just feels like it's not even Magic anymore. It feels like it's just somebody playing some other game where there's no mana costs and you just get to, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! You just get to dump your stuff on the table and see who's ahead, right? What a deck, even without Uro. Fun times, though. Let's get back to this mode. Thank you so much for hanging out, everybody. Thank you, YouTube friends, for checking out some constructed content. Glad to provide some of that for you. Well, I certainly didn't play perfectly either, Craig. No problem. Despite any misplays, you showed that that deck is so powerful it can withstand a few misplays. No problem. Fun times. Good games. Love my community. For those of you who are not yet into the Discord, check it out. The live chat community here is great. The Discord community waiting for you after the stream is also great. You want to do maybe some free drafting with mtgadraft.herokuapp.com. You're going to find action there. And I want to thank my sponsor, Card Kingdom, again for all of their support. If any of these decks looked appealing to you and maybe you want to go create them for your paper experience, you know where to go and you know how to get there. Do it with my affiliate link. Thank you so much, everybody. I do have a raid captain to redeem if Kanata MTG is still going. Let me see. And Clara, I'm almost done here. I'm sending a raid off.
That's okay.
And we'll get you to work on time. Kanata is indeed still going, so we're going to raid Kanata here. I know not everybody stuck around for Constructed. So those of you who did, stick around for the raid and give Kanata a nice solid one despite the late hour here on Friday. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend and catch you Monday for more Zendikar drafting. Bye, everyone.